Now, one will wonder why these engagements have not been held even prior to presenting the amendment of the bill to Parliament and the passage of same. We know that the President has gone ahead to assent or append his signature to the same bill. But it looks clearly there were no engagements. The transport operators are also up in arms with the same issue.
Well, it only tells you that financially government is desperate to actually raise this money. Somebody asked me why that the government didn't do consultation before even introducing the levy. And I said, if government does consultation, what happened to E-Levy will happen to this.
Yeah.
Because the moment you attempt to do consultation, all kinds of proposals, agitations will begin to come, which will force government to rethink. That was exactly what happened to you. So when the people raised the issue, E-Levy couldn't meet Easter. I said, no. If the MPP had the numbers like NDC has today, and they forced through E-Levy immediately, and there were no protesters to reduce this and exempt this and all that, they would have achieved their target about how much they wanted to raise. The issue is that once you want to do consultations, ideas will come, resistance will come, protests will come, things will happen. That will force government to what? To reduce the levy or not even implement it at all, because if they look at the political implications of people protesting and agitations, they may not. So it was clear that if they had wanted to do consultations, it wouldn't have been easy for the government. However, now that it has been passed, the implementation stage, at least they could have done some consultation. However, they didn't do their consultations. From my understanding, or what I think happened, was that two things could have happened. First of all, yes, government is desperately in need of the money, so they want to start collecting it immediately. So government wants quickly to start collecting that money, because if it has started today, on my way here I bought fuel, it meant that I would have immediately paid something to government immediately. So by the end of the month, government would know that it has raised this amount of money. So government is desperately in need. Secondly, though, I suspect that probably, I don't know, but I think GRA new bosses may have assumed that since the OMCs are already collecting the energy sector levy, existing one, they may have assumed that it's just an add-on. But what they forget is that the OMCs will now have to recalibrate their systems to factor in the new 1 Ghana cedi, which doesn't take a day or two. Because when did the president assent to the bill? Just about, is it Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday?
Yes, I think on Thursday.
It will take the OMC some time to recalibrate all their systems to include a new 1 Ghana cedi. So if GRA had assumed, that is what I'm thinking, that because they are already collecting the 49 pesos and other levies for them, it is just an issue of adding on. That will be coming from a position of lack of understanding of how the OMC systems work and how systems have to be calibrated. But see, the bottom line, as I said, is that it only sends a message that government is desperately in need of revenue. And as we have been told, this money we are looking for, we are just looking at how to buy fuel for the generation set, and then probably how to pay the debt. And even if you need, according to the minister, $1.1 billion to buy fuel just for the generation sets in a year. Even if the cedi is $1 to 10 cedis, it will mean that the government would need at least 10 billion cedis to be able to buy fuel for the generation set. So if the new levy is even going to generate 5.7 billion, it meant that even buying fuel alone for the generation set, there's still a huge shortfall there. If the target is to just buy fuel even for the generation set, it meant that there's still a huge target, because then the new tax is going to meet only about half. Only about half of the fuel needs that the minister has told us that we need money to import. So clearly, the energy sector debt, which is the major and the biggest problem for the economy, is not going away anytime soon. Because then there's already a legacy debt to be paid. Capacity charges will keep piling up. So there's a whole lot of issues, ECGs, inefficiencies are yet to be addressed, because government is not investing any money into the asset. And until government retools ECG, completely change all their old equipment, the efficiency we are looking for from ECG may not be achieved easily. It requires a lot of money for investment.
Yeah.
If you look at the PDS deal, ECG needs not less than $1 billion of investment. That's why within the 5 years period, aside what the US compact was giving us, the PDS which took over was supposed to do additional investment into ECG in order to make it efficient. So there are issues in the energy sector, and this 1 cedi increment, though painful, it's still not enough to solve the problems of the energy sector. And that is why the communication around this whole thing need to be handled very well. Because when you create the impression as if the 1 cedi is going to solve the going to solve the energy sector problem, and people pay, and then tomorrow they still have those issues around, and then now you want to come and give a different excuse, you are going to be in a serious problem. And this government should learn from E-Levy. When E-Levy was coming and there was protest, there were all kinds of statements from various government functionaries. It will clear this number of jobs. It will solve that. It will solve that. When finally it was passed, and those problems were still with that, people said, then why was the E-Levy passed? Because these were the statements you people made. And the public started referring the public officials to the statement they made when E-Levy was to be introduced. So I will advise the government that, look, they should just tone down. They should just tell the public that, well, this money is even just about half of the money we need in a year to buy fuel for thermal power plants to generate power. So even saying that we'll have enough fuel just to cure Dumso automatically is not even guaranteed, let alone the outstanding legacy debt of, according to the minister, over $3 billion is still there. Where do you get money to pay? TOR is there. We started paying TOR debt recovery levy under President Kufuor. President Kufuor left office in 2008. Today is 2025. How many years now have you repaid TOR debt recovery levy? But go to TOR right now. There's a huge debt on TOR's books. So when things are introduced and given specific names, if it fails to achieve that expected result, you now give the public and your opponents the opportunity now to come at you. That this is what you said when you forced us to pay this. Now that we have paid and we still have the problems lingering around, what justification there do you have? And you see, the government needs to, as I said, their communication needs to be very light and toned down. Because you see, you are bringing this tax after all the promises that the finance minister, we don't need more taxes to run the economy and all that. We are going to have more taxes. The reason is simple. As I said, it's been established that when we collect all the money in this country, we pay statutory funds, we pay interest on our loans, and then we pay salaries. Almost all the money we collect in this country is finished. So if that is the situation, question is, all the promises in the NDC manifesto that the government wants to roll out, where are you going to get money to roll them out? If only these 3 items are going to take almost 70-80% of the money we are collecting, let's say even it takes 50% of the money, where are you going to manage to do roads? Where are you going to build hospitals? Where are you going to get money to provide water, extension of electricity, and all that is needed for the people? That's why I've said that if politicians will communicate and let us understand that Ghana, these problems we have, maybe we need $100 or $300 billion to be able even to bring us up a little. So let's all prepare and make sure that we don't have too high expectations of the politician. And the public's mind is that, okay, we now know that our problems are not immediately going to vanish under 4 or 8 years rule of any government.
So the communication should be in a way that it will condition the money.
Exactly. If you are told the public that even this money you are bringing, it's going to generate only, assuming you get even the 5.7, it's going to be only half of the money you need to buy fuel. Just for fuel alone.
Not even the debt.
Not even the debt. That is, and therefore the expectation that Dumso will vanish all of a sudden, will clear the debt in the sector, and then the sector will all of a sudden be debt free, ECG will become efficient. It is not the case. Then the public is conditioned to understand that, even what we are paying will only be about half of the fuel we need for Dumso. So it means that we shouldn't expect that all the problems that we are facing, especially in terms of DUSO or energy sector, will vanish overnight.
Right.
Then the public is more conditioned. But when it's more like when you even raise some of this issue, then the party people are attacking you.
Exactly.
Why are you saying this? The previous government, did you say that? I said, no, you don't. They voted the previous government out because public believe that the way they're handling things, they are not satisfied. Why do you want them to be comparing yourself to previous government?
Very well, Elvis. Thank you.